Madam Chairman, fellow board members, we have before us this afternoon, Marion Counterman DOC 100677. He's here this afternoon seeking a recommendation for a commutation of sentence for a 1983 conviction of aggravated rape. He was sentenced to life without benefit of probation, parole, or suspension in sentence. He was also convicted of 2 counts of aggravated burglary, which he received a 30-year sentence. And those sentences were running consecutively. Am I correct?
Did you say 2 counts of aggravated burglary?
Well, you were arrested for 2 counts of aggravated burglary, but it was only conviction of 1?
Only conviction of 1, yes, sir.
Okay, and those sentences, they were running consecutively, am I correct?
Yes, sir.
So basically, you served the 30 years for the aggravated burglary, and now you're 9.5 years into your sentence for the aggravated rape. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Mr. Coleman was 27 years old at the time of the offenses. He is a 3rd felony offender. All of his felony convictions are related to the offense of rape. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
His first arrest was for attempted rape in Kansas at the age of 17, in which he pleaded guilty. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Both victims of the crime, Ms. Linda Harrison and Ms. Jimmy Westbrook, made a positive identification of the offender at the time of his arrest. I'm going to go over your arrest record, Mr. Coleman, and I want you to answer yes or no if this is correct. You were arrested in October of 1971 for attempted rape in Kansas at the age of 17.
Yes, sir.
And you pleaded guilty.
Yes, sir.
You were arrested in March of 1975 for forcible rape at the age of 20. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
You were arrested in April of 1978 for rape in Kansas, and you pleaded guilty to rape at the age of 23.
Yes, sir.
You were arrested in September of 1982 for 2 counts of aggravated rape, and you were found guilty on 1 count of aggravated rape and 1 count of aggravated burglary in Louisiana at the age of 27. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Also, you were charged when you were arrested in 1982 for possession of marijuana, but it was not billed by the DA's office. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
You've been incarcerated since that time. Am I correct?
Yes, sir.
You have a very poor supervision history. You were revoked in November of 1974 on your first conviction. And you were on supervision in 1982 when you committed the aggravated rape in Louisiana. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Economy. Did drugs or alcohol play any part in the rapes, arrests in Kansas or Louisiana?
Yes, sir.
What was your drug of choice?
My drug of choice was really hallucinogenics, but I abused alcohol and marijuana a whole lot also. And that's no excuse though. That's
Okay, when did you start using drugs and abusing alcohol?
the last time I had anything to do with any kind of drugs was in 1984 when I smoked one last joint in 1984 and said, I'm done. I couldn't handle it no more. And alcohol, I drank some homemade brew at Camp A here at Angola. And I started saying and doing things that I normally don't do. And I said, I'm done.
Thank you, Mr. Conover. Opposition in this case comes from the entire legal community. The DA's office is adamantly opposed. The sheriff's office is strongly opposed. And the chief of police of Baton Rouge, Louisiana, has voiced their opposition. The victim's family is adamantly opposed. Victim Linda Harrison and her three sons, Kenneth, Anthony, and Todd Harrison, all oppose any clemency in this case. Victim Jimmy Westbrook's children could not be located for this hearing. Mr. Conover has a low risk assessment. Unfortunately, our PPI did not give us a static 99 assessment, but with multiple rape convictions, I can imagine that score would be in the medium to high range. His mental health evaluation is at level 5, no history of mental health and no medication. He's in minimal custody. He has a good institutional record. He has a GED, an associate degree, and a bachelor's degree. Other certifications. Would you like to mention any of the other educational advancements besides your GED, your bachelor's degree, and your associate degree? You have some other certificates of certification. Would you like to tell us about those?
I had a diploma from a Northwestern Missouri Community College for 60 hours of computer technology also in my record. Other than that, I'm just stay studying what I'm doing now and stay productive in to helping people out if I can to educate other people also.
Thank you, Mr. Conover. Programs completed, anger management, substance abuse treatment, living in balance, 1 and 2. He completed all 4 phases of the sex offender treatment, 100 hours pre-release, and this 12-step program. Also, victim awareness, HIV/AIDS awareness. He's trained with CPR, and he has multiple certificates from prison enterprises. He's worked with the Lookout Project and many other programs. Would you like to mention any programs that you especially enjoyed taking?
I enjoyed working at Point Lookout, but due to pandemic, they ended up having to take me off because our dormitory was under quarantine on several occasions, and I wasn't able to make it to the Point Lookout Cemetery or to the funerals. I've been part of a hospital. I've helped patients at the hospital, took them to and from church, and sat with them and talked with them and ministered to them. I've also and we have a what we call an indigent program in the fellowship that I'm affiliated with, and we give out cosmetics to the indigent people, and I enjoy doing that also.
Thank you, sir. Disciplinary conduct. Mr. Coleman had a total of 16 disciplinary write-ups and 39 years of incarceration. The last one being for contraband in 2003, some 19 years ago. Warden Falco, would you like to make any comments, remarks, or observations at this time?
Yes, sir. Mr. Counterman has done well since he's been here at Angola. Looking back at his record, he last was in a cell block, looks like 1989. After that, he maintained his living quarters as being mostly, if not all of his entirety on the East Shore. So his time here, he's been able to maintain a dormitory setting for that number of years. From a standpoint of disciplinary, we've not had any problems other than what you've seen in his record.
Chairman, I do have a recommendation in this case, and I will share it with my fellow board members at the conclusion of this interview.
Thank you, Ms. Rocho. All right, can we hear from Ms. York?
Yes, I'm here.
Go ahead, and what would you like us to know?
I would just like to say that I believe that my brother deserves the chance to come home and be with his mom in her last years. And I believe I think that Marion has paid for his crimes, and I really think that he deserves the chance to come home and spend the rest of his life, his remaining life with his family.
Ma'am, thank you. Mrs. Paragon?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Is there anything you'd like to say to us?
I'd like to see my son come home and be with me for a while.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. And then is Mr. York also there with you?
Yes, ma'am. So what I'd like to say is individuals make mistakes. Not, sometimes we learn from them, sometimes we don't. In this case, I'd like to believe, and I genuinely do believe that my uncle has served many years and has learned from the mistakes that he's did in the past. I think that now should be a good time for him to be able to redeem the actions of his past by going into the community and actually helping the community this time. I think everybody deserves at least a second chance.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Is that it? Has something you want to add? Okay.
I just,
Ma'am?
yes, I just want to say that my brother deserves the chance to be home with his family. And I think that a lot of mistakes has been made on everybody's part. But Marion has done a lot of good things since he's been there. And I believe that God sent him there for a reason so that he could help other people possibly understand that prison life is not all that it's cracked up to be. And now I think that he deserves to come home.
Yes, thank you. All right, Mr. Marion, is there a statement you'd like to make to the board before we vote?
Yes, ma'am, there is. In my lifetime, I've been a scumbag. Call it as it is. I've been a lowlife, made a lot of bad decisions, hurt a lot of people. I wish I had did the things that I've done. Hold myself responsible, take up full responsibility, hold myself accountable for all the things I've done, the people that I've hurt, and transgressions that I've committed in my lifetime. And I'm not the same man I used to be, and all I can do is throw myself on the mercy of the pardon board. And that's it.
All right, thank you, sir. I think we are prepared to vote. We'll start with Mr. Roche.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Mr. Counterman, I believe in second chances also. I really do. But Mr. Counterman, you have overwhelming opposition from the legal community. Your crime is what, 39 years old, in law enforcement, DA's office, the sheriff's office, the chief of police is still sending in statements in opposition to your release. You have opposition from victim Linda Harrison's 3 sons who are adamantly opposed to any clemency in this case. You have a poor supervision history. You were revoked in 1974 and you were revoked in 1982, and you've been incarcerated ever since. You have a prior history of aggravated sex offenses. All 3 of your convictions are rape related. I have a serious concern about public safety. You committed an offense when you were 17, when you were 20, when you were 23, when you were 27, and you've been incarcerated ever since. I have a serious concern about public safety. And when I had a public safety concern, I tend to go with public safety. So based on all the reasons I just articulated, I'm going to recommend to deny your request.
Mr. Roche, Mr. Mirabella.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Mr. Counterman, I've often said we do take into account the crimes itself, but that's a small part. If we look to see who the person is today. Some crimes are hard to overlook. The fact that you have been convicted and arrested of numerous rapes over the course of your life, and as Mr. Roche pointed out, each time you committed another one, and you've been in prison since then. I do believe that there is a public safety risk, and I'm very concerned about it. At this point, today, my vote likewise would be to deny. I would encourage you to continue to work. And perhaps next time it might be a little different, but I'm very concerned about that as well. So my vote likewise is to deny.
Mr. Freeman.
I concur with my colleague for the same reasons they have given, and also vote to deny.
Okay, Mr. Counterman, do you know what the outcome of today's proceeding is?
Yes, ma'am.
in your favor. So your application for clemency is being denied today. Good luck to you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am.
This is unreal. I'm going to read through because maybe, taking notes, it helps. And then even with my notes, I had to put this on pause and re-listen to what Mr. O'Shea said. Because I'm saying, how is this possible? October 1971, at the age of 17, he's arrested for attempted sexual assault. We don't know what sentence he got. 1975, at the age of 20, he is arrested for being successful of sexual assault. April 1978, at the age of 23, he's arrested again of successful sexual assault. September 1982, tried for 2 counts, convicted for 1 of sexual assault at the age of 27. 17, 20, 23, 27. Now, much of his life, he was in prison. There's only a little bit of time that he was out of prison that he was committing these offenses. Where do you even start with this? Are you kidding me? You do something where you attack another human being and you violate them, and you do that to them, and they give a little slap on the wrist, and you do it again and they give a little slap on the wrist, and you do it again, and it's like, how does the system work that way? When did the system? I feel like I need to go. I need to study the history of. There's. I don't even know where to start. But the more that we unpack, the more that we learn. Watching these things, it just makes it seem like the Department of Corrections does not care and never really did seem to care. If you had robbed a bank, forget about it. But you do this to a young girl, or we don't have the details, and a slap on the wrist. I mean, at the age of 17, he got the attempted charge, which who knows, right? It means she could have gotten away. It means that they just, they didn't know. So they were lackadaisy about it. So he pled to attempted. He's not a baby at 17. In 1974, it says he was revoked. So maybe 75 is the conviction date. So I think he went 3 years before he committed it at the age of 20. Yeah, because 75. So he was revoked in 74, where he successfully now achieved his goal of assaulting a woman at the age of 20. So we don't know how much time he got at 17, but eventually he did get out on parole, and he only lasted till the age of 20, where he was caught. Remember, this is being caught. We don't know how many times he did it until he's caught. But for some reason, a judge said, we'll just give you a couple of years. Not a big deal, right? Because 1978, he was convicted again at the age of 23. So we don't know how much time they gave him in 75, but Maybe it was just a year, maybe it was 2 years, but he gets out on parole and boom, again. Then this is now the third time that he has spent time in prison for doing this to a woman or a girl. Let's be real, these courts, we don't have details of it. When he gets charged again in 1982, that's his conviction date at the age of 27. It's 4 years from the conviction date at the age of 23. So they had let him out of prison really again just after a few years, and he was revoked. How do you explain that? There was a judge that was literally saying, "What's a big deal?" Not once. He said, "What's a big deal?" Not twice. "What's a big deal?" 3 times. Till a judge finally said enough is enough. "30 years on a burglary, life on the sexual assault." And it's great. It's running consecutive. So he's only 9 years into his life sentence that he's trying to commute right now. And the family, it's like the things that they said makes you feel that they're just so tone deaf. I mean, there's things that you might have, I was listening to hear them say, he's not a risk to anyone right now at his age. Something like that. But it was just there was not even anything there. It was like people get second chances, people make mistakes. Let's see, one thing that was said was, that was said that stuck out to me. I'm trying to find my notes. It was like, I think she said everyone made mistakes. I was like, who's everyone? Not everyone makes mistakes. Everyone made mistakes. It's like, no, this is what do you, like. I thought Mr. Mirabella was going to say, yeah, you get second chances, but he's done this 4 times. From the age of 17 when his first conviction to the age of 27, but it was really like every moment he was free, he got another conviction for doing it. How is that possible? Some people need to stay locked up forever. And Richard did provide a lot. I'll put it in the description. Richard did provide a lot of documents, but the documents are they don't list any information of his crimes. It's really technicalities, because he filed an appeal a year after his sentence, and he basically, I think, had 5 days actually to file the appeal. So it's just technicalities about how a late appeal is not was rejected. Which I just, sorry, but someone like this, he's a serialist. I mean, he's one of the worst we might have. It's hard to say one of the worst we may have seen, because we've seen so many, and I feel like that statement is just, it's just, you can't say that. But this case, this guy's scary. Is no business being in the free world. I mean, this is just an ultimate monster, a roach. It's unbelievable. But you wouldn't believe it if you didn't see it. At least I wouldn't. With that, I'll let you go.